Hey guys, I want to do a lot of videos on reasons to vote and why it's important to be registered to vote. I feel like a lot of people don't realize all of the opportunities and responsibilities they have when they're registered to vote. So today I want to talk about jury selection and jury duty. It's important for everyone to participate in the jury selection process because a jury is supposed to be 12 peers of all different demographics and backgrounds. There should be 12 completely different people with completely different religions, ethnicities, gender associations, everything should be different so that way you're getting convicted by 12 completely different people who agree on the same thing. So I want to talk about two cases. One case was in Fort Worth, Texas in 2015, where Officer Johnson, who's white, was responding to a 911 call of a prowler with a knife. When he arrived, he pulled up on Gregory Adams, who is African American, and was in his own driveway with a barbecue fork. Officer Johnson asked him to drop the weapon and to go to his knees, which he did. As he was going to his knees after dropping the weapon, he was shot by Officer Johnson's shotgun. Johnson said that the gun must have malfunctioned or accidentally discharged. However, his supervisors say that the safety should not have been off, nor should the gun have been racked at that point. Officer Johnson was charged with aggravated assault by a public servant. Gregory Adams survived the incident. And the jury deliberated for 6.5 hours over 2 days before deciding that they could not come to an agreement. The judge had to declare a mistrial because the jurors were stuck at 5-7. And what that means is that the jury cannot decide whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty, so the judge is forced to declare a mistrial, which means that the defendant can basically go free, but the prosecution still can retry them with a different jury. So Officer Johnson was terminated from the Fort Worth Police Department at the end of June, and we don't know if he's going to be retried. Next, I want to talk about the case of Jeremy Lake, which was in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 2014. Jeremy Lake was walking home with his girlfriend when his girlfriend's father showed up next to them on the street. The girlfriend daughter says that her father, Officer Kepler, shot her boyfriend 3 times after he extended his hand to introduce himself. Kepler has since retired from the police force and has been tried 3 times. And 3 times there have been a mistrial. 11-1, 5-7, and 6-6. Those aren't in order. But after this last mistrial, a juror Facebooked that 2 of the jurors refused to discuss the case at all. They would not convict a police officer, period. They did not want to hear any evidence. They did not want to debate. They were not going to hear it, period. And this is where the problem is that there's probably people like that on all 3 juries. And we need to stop this. And how we stop this is by fulfilling our civic duties of responding to jury duty, which I'm even super guilty of ignoring jury duty notices. So it's something I'm going to have to change too. But in Tulsa, there is only about 50% of Tulsa registered to vote. And there are about 1,500 African Americans in Tulsa, which only 41% of are registered to vote, which means only about 7,500 Tulsa, Oklahoman black people are being able to be put into the jury selection pool. Oklahomian, someone's gonna have to tell me. So of that, 46% of white people are registered. 27% of Hispanic people are registered, and as I said before, 41% of African Americans are registered. In Fort Worth, Texas, only 20% of African Americans are registered to vote. So if we're not being represented in even being able to register vote, we're definitely not being registered or represented in a jury. And when I say we, I mean just people with my views and beliefs. So minorities are definitely not being represented already. Tulsa is about 42% registered to vote, and of that, 70% is over 65. Baby boomers. Baby boomers. So we need to make sure that we're getting all of us into that jury process, so that way it's not just white people over 65. We need to make sure that there's young people, black people, yellow people. Everyone needs to be a part of the jury process. Otherwise, it's not 12 different people. It's just one angry old white man.